Welcome to the Christ in Us Module Blueprint. My name is Jim Devlin, and this is the Module 5 application for class DL5733, Design of Instructional Media. As an introduction, I work as an educational consultant for a small family publisher and have been working with Catholic schools and parishes for more than 2 decades. I've also served as a parish catechist and coordinator of a religious education program. During most of that time, many parish religious education programs felt more like the older days of education. The thought of using technology would be like going to the moon. But internet access and digital technologies have become an integral part of today's instructional landscape, and the volunteer catechists are now striving to integrate technology into the classes. The other concern is that these religious ed programs are serving Catholic students who attend public schools where digital instruction has been in place for a while. Now catechists are behind the eight ball trying to catch up to better serve the digital natives in their classrooms. And that is where this course comes in. In Module 2 of this class, learners were identified who need to acquire the skills to effectively use the online resources of a new blended learning program. Through this exercise, the need for the course will be established, along with measurable learning objectives, instructional strategies, and assessment tools. This blended learning program that I mentioned is Christ in Us, a new program for kindergarten to grade 6. It was released in late spring of 2020 and is now being used in a number of Catholic parishes and some schools in the region I serve. As I was conducting parish in-services and follow-up meetings, it became apparent that many of the catechists were not accessing the online content. Many reasons were given, but the two most popular were that they didn't know how to use the christinus.com portal or that they didn't feel comfortable teaching with technology. In addition, I conducted several in-class catechist observations last spring, and almost every class was taught with the catechist seated at a desk or on a stool in front of the room, most often reading to the class. But when asked how they liked to learn, the catechist gave a variety of styles, but very few mentioned online learning. Added to that mix is that Christ in Us was created using the Understanding by Design style, and this is completely new ground for the catechists. Most had been using one of our legacy programs, which was originally crafted in the early 2000s, and while it was being updated over the years, the pedagogy never changed. It was a traditional program which worked well with traditional catechists teaching in traditional classrooms, but things are not traditional anymore. Just who are these learners? They are the volunteer catechists of a pastoral region, which is a group of 3 parishes in Cincinnati, Ohio. They serve in 2 parishes, and the median age is 53. The catechists are predominantly female, and almost 70% are college graduates. Almost all of them are parents, with most of their children having gone through the programs. 10% of the catechists work in local elementary schools, from teachers to a librarian, and while internet accessibility is not an issue with this audience, using it well is for some, as technology skills are mixed. The working title for this module is Getting Started with Christ in Us Done Online. In it are 6 lessons that are designed as an online learning experience, but the reality is that we have some customers where this will be done in a face-to-face setting. The module is a germination of an idea born in class DL5833, Evaluation and Assessment of Instructional Design. It will first be used on the catechists of the pastoral region in Cincinnati, which was previously mentioned. Our goal is to focus on noted weaknesses and help the catechist understand why that old style of teaching, such as the round-robin reading exercises, are just not working as well as we would hope. To help get them online, the course will integrate components from christinus.com and its training site, Christ in Us Companion. For the instructional tools, we will be using 2 specific ones from the Articulate 360 suite, Rise 360 for course creation and Peak for screencasting. The decision to use Rise over Articulate's more popular Storyline 360 was forced by the fact that Storyline only works in Windows environments. I work in an Apple environment, and Rise 360 is the only web-based tool that Articulate has for course creation, so Rise it is. I've been recording short how-to videos with Loom that were shared with customers, and those curated videos will be used here. The christinus.com website will be used for its program content, and the Christ in Us Companion training site hosted on participate.com will also provide video content. Initially, I'd envisioned this module as something to be done independently, but in a meeting with the Pastoral Region's Director of Religious Education, he recommended pairing grade-level catechists from the two parishes to build a team. As budgets tighten, more of the region's ministries are joining forces, and the director wanted to start forging a team here. The added bonus is that they will form their own learning communities. In several of the grades, we were able to pair younger, more tech-savvy catechists with older, less savvy ones. It provides a generational role reversal that the younger members will be serving as digital mentors to their older partners. Course lessons will consist of online activities with offline ones, such as creating and evaluating lesson plans. The hands-on work will be completed online or on paper at the discretion of the catechist. This authentic learning experience will use the real-world tools catechists will use in the classes, and is a solid way to engage the catechist, as well as improve retention. The assessment plan features pre-course, formative, and summative assessments, all mapped to the Bloom's taxonomy levels of the course's objectives. Lesson 1 and 3 will start with self-evaluations, and the others will start with an activity to assess the retention of the previous lesson's content. Formative assessments will be included with every lesson through the RISE 360 knowledge checks, internet searches, and activities on christinus.com and Christ in Us Companion. Every lesson concludes with a summative assessment where catechists will work with their partners to complete lesson planning exercises or reflections. The course module was created after multiple in-services and discussions with the directors of religious education. They noted instructional methods were dated, and as a result of the discussion and in-class observations, I needed to focus on 4 areas: how to teach students of today more effectively, how to incorporate the strategies from Understanding by Design into the classes, how to get into the online content, and then how to use it in the class, and finally, how to seek support online. From that list, 6 lessons were established, and the essential questions and objectives were crafted to address those needs, and we will talk about those next. For the first lesson, we will answer the question, how do I get started? After completing the session, catechists will be able to demonstrate how to access the Christ in Us website by creating an account and then logging on. We will start off with a self-evaluation to see what the technological abilities of the catechists are. And during the class, there will be knowledge check-ins to ensure everyone is on the same page as we move through the steps. Catechists will check off their progress on a provided checklist. The summative assessment will consist of the catechist's abilities to create an account on the website and then log into it. At some point, we all need a helping hand, so the second lesson will focus on how to find that support in christinus.com. Lesson 2's essential question is, where do I go for help? After we are finished, catechists will be able to demonstrate how to access Christ in Us Companion and send a message through its messenger function. After the previous 2 lessons, catechists should have a rudimentary understanding of christinus.com and Christ in Us Companion. So let's shift the attention to the classroom. The essential question for Lesson 3 is getting the catechist to think about how to approach the class. How has learning changed since I was in school? After completing the session, the catechist will be able to compare differences in their own learning styles that they experienced and those of today's learners. We will start with a self-evaluation survey of school memories. Was there a favorite teacher? What did they do that was so memorable? Beyond that, we will introduce different learning pedagogies that are relevant today, such as activity-based learning and Understanding by Design. The summative assessment will be a guided reflection designed to assess the catechist's understanding of current pedagogies. Now that we have introduced catechists to modern styles, we can move more in depth on Understanding by Design. This will help answer the essential question, how do I teach students using Christ in Us? After completing this session, catechists will be able to analyze the Understanding by Design lesson flow in Christ in Us, and we will do that through a matching activity. Throughout the lesson, we will have formative check-ins along with 4 scheduled formative assessments after each of the 4 steps of the Christ in Us lesson, which are the big question in the opening prayer, encounter, accompany, and witness. Now that for the 5th session, we will be working with our own class lessons, and that's reflected in our essential question, how do I put the lesson plan into action? After completing this session, catechists will be able to use a Christ in Us resource chart provided to design a lesson flow that will fill the time frame of their class. As a veteran catechist, I always stress a 1+5 formula in these in-services. The catechists need to plan for an additional 5 minutes of class because time and again, that 15-minute activity we planned will only take 10. That is also part of the formative assessment of time checks. The online lesson planner does have time suggestions for activities, but they are not always accurate in the real world. Now that we've created our lesson plan, is there anything we can do to improve them? That's the idea behind Lesson 6, How do I make lessons more memorable? After completing this session, the catechist will be able to review the lesson plan they've created and propose 3 ways to improve it. Working with a partner, they will complete a reflection and choose 3 new strategies to use in a class. Thank you for your attention.